Thanks for meeting with me, guys. I don't have a ton to update you guys on. We're only in week 2 of the summer, but it's been a really good cycle so far. I'm proud of the way the guys have started. But I'm probably more excited about the next 6 weeks. You know, summer's a crucial time for us, so I'm excited to be in the thick of it right now. So, whatever questions you got.
We just saw Quinton walk by over there. Can you give us an update on him? I mean, he's a guy who we saw do some good things in the spring, but James mentioned maybe had a bit of a lag process with getting up to speed physically.
Yeah, physically he came in a little bit undersized. Just, you guys know the Big Ten running backs, you got to be durable in this game, and he probably came in a few pounds short of what he should have been in order to play a significant amount of downs for us on Saturdays. So our concentration has been putting lean mass on him, but obviously with any type of skill position like that, with the amount of movement he does and the agility that's required at that position, you got to make sure he maintains his fluidity. So he's like any other young guy. His progress has been great. I'm really happy with where he is. His weight is in the low 200s now compared to the low 190s, high 180s when he first got here. So he's progressing, he's trending, he's exactly where he should be. He's on schedule.
Chuck,
I'm excited about it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
are you still using the tier system? When Deej was here, he would tell us about 1, 2, 3. Who are some of the level 3 guys who are kind of setting the tone? Because that seemed to be important back then, and I assume it still is.
Yeah, it is, and I still utilize it. That was a kind of a hybrid model that Deej and I cultivated over the course of a lot of years, and our entire staff did. We've got, I think right now, we've got anywhere from 12 to 16. I don't have the exact number in front of me of tier 3 lifters for us. The one that jumps off top right now is obviously Nick Singleton. You guys probably get tired of listening to me talk about him, but the dude is just he's a model for all of our guys that come through the program and the way it's supposed to look, especially when it comes to the tier system and the way that we train in the weight room. He's a guy that spent a very short period of time in the tier 1 system because he had such a good strength and power foundation when he first came in. He spent little time in tier 2 with us just because of the amount of snaps he played early for us. And he's kind of our model in the tier 3 as well. We can pretty much throw any type of training protocol at him, and he works his butt off at it and he adapts. So that's all we can ask for him. But yeah, we do still utilize the tier system. Yeah, that's kind of a staple in our program.
What does he do better now than he did 2 years ago as a freshman, Nick? And how does he adapt?
Well, I think he's gotten faster, and obviously at the position of running back, speed and agility is 2 of your biggest characteristics that you need. But he's also doing it at 226, 228 pounds now, as opposed to when he first got here, he was like 208 pounds. So I think that's it's an easy statistic to point at, but that's hard to do from a development standpoint. It's hard to put on that type of lean mass and improve your movement qualities. So that's an area that he's gotten a lot better with it.
James has talked about Abdul naturally being a big guy and kind of holding off some weight. How is he doing in the transition defensive end? Kind of the same conversation with Nick and size.
Size-wise, he's exactly where he should be. I'm not going to throw numbers out at you right now, but he's where he needs to be, and part of that is because we have such a good competition at the defensive end position. That room is crammed full of guys, young and old, who, they compete, they work, and there's a lot of big bodies in there for that position. You think about Denai, you think about Amin. You got some big body defensive ends in there compared to the ones we've had also. So it wasn't hard for Abdul to get up to speed.
Chuck, what were the primary concentrations this offseason with Drew, and where do you think he's progressed, notably from last season to this season?
Primary improvements, we talked about it before. He's a body composition guy for us. Continuing to get his body fat percentage down, his lean mass up, and then his movement qualities, with the way, I won't get too deep into the way Coach K runs his offense and what you ask that position to do. I think Drew is you saw it during spring. He's moving around a lot more, and he's going to have to be able to do that in the game too. So his ability to run, not that we're going to ask him to do that all the time. I don't know, that's up to Coach K, but with any guy of our guys, we need them to be superior athletes. And movement has always been an area for Drew that probably, when you look at our history and the types of guys we've had back there, Trace is in town right now. You think about Sean's ability to move. We've always had some really good movement guys back there, and that's always been something we've been trying to improve on with Drew.
Outside of obvious conditioning and strength and things like that, what kind of gains do you want the guys to get over the next 6 weeks during summer? What are some of the hidden things you hope they achieve over the next 6 weeks?
Well, number one is always our leadership, developing leadership at this time of the year, because we're coming down, to the end of it before the fall camp starts. I mean, our leadership has to be dialed in at the end of this 6 weeks, because what you've got at the end of this 6 weeks going into the fall camp is pretty much what you've got up until, mid-January, early February. So that's probably the biggest thing we got to get dialed in outside of physical things.
You notice that in the receivers? Anybody in particular, what you're just talking about?
Well, yeah, and I think, I mentioned it. Julian's he's been really good in that room since he came in at the mid-year point. Just having an older presence in there for those other guys has been great. But I'm really, really happy with Liam Clifford and his development physically and maturity, and his ability to kind of take ownership as a leader in the room, take those younger guys and just basically tell them what to do and give them guidance. I think Liam he's found a voice in that sense, and he's taken a leadership role. And I think having Julian around another guy who's an older guy in the room with him, I think that's helped Liam.
Who are some of the mid-year guys who maybe have adjusted, the enrollees who have adjusted most quickly to a college strength program?
As far as our mid-years go, I will say this, just thinking about it, I got to give credit to, we got two guys that just got here a couple of weeks ago in Specca and Gonzalez, and I'm really impressed with their foundation coming out of high school. They've jumped right into it and they're ready to go. Like, you would watch one of our sessions right now and you wouldn't know that those kids have only been on campus for a couple of weeks. So I'm really impressed with them. I'm trying to rack my brain for the mid-years. Throw some names at
Cousins was a guy that people talked a lot about in terms of just fitting straight in.
Yeah, he's fit in. I mean, he's continued the trend that he had throughout all the way up till spring ball, which was the last time I talked to you. And I mean, Coop he's a dude for us in all sense of the word. He's doing a great job.
Been seeing Reynolds walk around here. He looks significantly bigger.
Yeah, still I'm super impressed with Luke. He's been phenomenal. Another one that jumps out to me is Xavier Gilliam. That guy's continued trending. The things that he does in some of our movement sessions, the way he explodes off the line, his strength, his power, his ability to apply force. He looks like a vet out there, so I'm excited for him too.
Is there a next step for Bo, physically, under you, like what you see him progressing for Julian?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a next step with
or what is it
everybody in
maybe
the program.
for him to help him develop you see it?
Physically with Bo, Bo's already fast. I mean, Bo is he's a guy, he's fast, he's powerful. Base strength levels are something that Bo can always improve on and will improve on over the course of his years. That's the biggest thing. Bo's a highly trained athlete, so there's not a ton in there. He's pretty much what you want athletically.
Chuck, with Julian Fleming, he's a guy that's dealt with injuries throughout his career. How have you seen him progress, in the time you've been able to spend with him as far as his development physically?
I'm impressed with him. He got here. He's a big body guy. He didn't time well when he first got here. That's not a knock on him by any means, because he is such a big body. But when you compare his initial baseline testings compared to the rest of our wideouts and the way they move at that position, he was definitely a step slower. He's closed the gap. He's done a great job. Speed is a huge thing for him that we addressed early. And he's in a really good spot right now. I see his body. He's leaned down. composition is in a really good spot.
Tony Rojas continues to look different and bigger every time seemingly we see him.
Yep.
What has maybe changed there, and where's maybe that next area you want to focus on with him?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Yeah, where's maybe the next area that you want to focus on with Tony, and what are maybe some notable changes that you guys have seen in him?
Development-wise and body-wise, I mean, Tony is he's ahead of the curve. So his biggest thing is, like any of these guys, as they get older in the program, taking that leadership role. I see him as a big-time leader for us. You know, usually I kind of categorize guys when I talk to you in the winter as far as guys who are being unbelievably consistent, leadership guys. Tony's a guy right now who has positioned himself not just amongst the position group, but also on the defense as a voice of reason and like an authoritative voice on the defense. And I love that. Like when you come out and you watch our training sessions, I mean, you hear Tony, you feel Tony. So I think just the impact that he has mentally and emotionally as a catalyst to the other guys around him, you know, that's starting to match his trend physically.
We heard from Phil Troutline today a little bit about the freshman tackles that have come in, added quite a bit of weight in Egan and Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about their development, their progress? And in Egan's particular case, have you dealt with many lighter offensive linemen coming in as freshmen to a college program like that?
Yeah, I mean, we get your fair share of them. I mean, back in the day, I used to deal with a lot more of them because it was such a developmental thing for us, like all the way dating back when James and I were at Vanderbilt. You know, we would deal with a lot of those bodies. Here, not as much because the guys are a little bit more game ready. You know, when you get higher on the, I don't know, star scale or whatever of high school folks. But yeah, we got plenty of experience in it. I actually enjoy that population because it makes you look really good as a strength and performance coach at the end of the day. Once they leave after 3-4 years, you know, you can go up and you can show the graph and their numbers are off the charts. But yeah, I mean, it's getting them to understand, hey, you're way behind the curve from a strength and a size standpoint, getting them to own that, and then getting them to buy into the process of fixing that, which is train your butt off, do everything the coaches are asking you to do, and get the kcals in. Your calorie intake has just got to be at a ridiculous level. So, I mean, nutrition is a huge thing with those guys. But yeah, they've done a great job so far.
On that note, how is Garrett Sexton done? I know he wasn't available for the spring. Has he been able to rebound from other things going on?
He's good. It's been nice to get him full go in all the activities because he was so limited on some of the things with change of direction and the speed. So it's just nice to get him back in. And yeah, he's good. What's nice about those guys, you know, it's an advantage of coming in as a mid-year. You kind of get to soak up, even though you may be limited and you're rehabbing, you also get a great idea of what the expectation is around you in watching your teammates train and conduct their business. And he took as good a notes as any. He jumped right in once he was full go, and he's done great.
How about Liam Andrews? I know he's a guy that had a situation coming in.
Same thing. I mean, he's doing a great job. Really happy with Liam on everything. Obviously, you know, you gotta, once you accept, okay, I'm here, I'm on campus, I've got this vision of who I want to be. It's not going to happen in the next 5 months because I've got a pre-existing injury. Once they kind of get over that hump and understand that their situation is just a little bit different, they're good to go. And both of them did a great job with that. And you know, Liam's been working his butt off too. I'm fired up about him.
We heard a lot of NFL draft people raving about Tyler Warren already. Where is he in terms of his development, and how much better could he actually get physically?
I mean, how much better can he get? I mean, I think.
My point is, if people are already raving about him, where's the ceiling?
I think he's got a shot to go down as one of the best that we've had at that position. I really do. I believe that. I've thought that for a long time. I know it's been kind of a split share between talking about Theo and him throughout the past few years, but that's what excites me most about Tyler this year is, you know, he's the guy going in that everybody's talking about, but he's also the guy and the personality that pays absolutely no mind to that.
Right.
Like, he doesn't hear it. And that's what I love about him. He's the same dude when he comes in, and I think that dude's going to be off the charts.
Why
this
is he
year.
so special to you, Chuck?
Tyler?
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit more like every coach has got kind of personal preferences in the guys the personalities that they adapt to. Tyler, I've always been drawn to because I love those guys who they come in, they take care of their business, they do everything they need to do to take care of their bodies. You don't necessarily hear them all the time, but you do feel them and you do feel their presence. And, you know, I've told you guys, use this like consistency. That's one of the biggest qualities that I value of all of these guys. I mean, he's unbelievably consistent. I'm just drawn to that. And I like guys like that who go about their business that way every day.
All right, thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.